To kind of explain this project that I'm doing and releasing, which is a novel that I've written, I prepared a self-interview to kind of give you everything you need to know about it. So let's get right to it. What is WOLVON? WOLVON is the name of the novel I've written and released. In the story, the name WOLVON is the true name for a werewolf. I'll give you a little summary. Gruesome murders begin to crop up in New York. These murders seemingly have no connection to each other except for two common factors. Unlike your typical assault, the bodies were mangled in a way that is more akin to a large animal than a man. Each murder had traces of canine and human DNA recovered at each crime scene. Who or what are responsible for these murders? Why are they happening now? Over the course of 4 stories, see the lives of several individuals changed forever by the beast with the white mane. Dragged into a life where myth meets reality, what will they do? Who will they become? Are they truly in control of their own lives or just part of a cruel game? What genre is your book in? It's a combination of different genres. I consider it a horror-themed action drama. Who is the main character of your book? My book has 5 main characters. Lisa Alvarez. Lisa is an office worker who is a very meek person who struggles with depression and self-loathing. She has strong feelings for her childhood friend William, who also works in the same office. Ever since he comforted her after her father left her family, she has had a rather unhealthy obsession with him. After going through the worst night of her life, a fateful encounter changes everything. Now possessing a newfound strength and confidence, will she grow into a better person or go down a much darker path? The second, Jack Moran. Jack is a former rocker turned music producer. Once part of a promising rock band, his dreams are cut short after his band is taken advantage of by a music producer. Jack decides to become the very thing he hates in order to secure money and success. He soon becomes addicted to his vices. After one night that was stranger than most, people that cross him are now starting to turn up dead. What's causing this, and what does he plan to do about it? The third, Jennifer Zhu. Jennifer is a police detective who has been investigating a series of brutal murders. She finds that despite each case seeming like random attacks, a strange mix of canine and human DNA was recovered at every crime scene. She believes this to be some new trick to hide the killer's identity and goes on a hunt to find the murderer. She's a driven woman with a sense of justice. However, she tends to be too willing to take risks and doesn't seem to value her own life as much as she does others. Next is Kevin. Kevin grew up with parents that had unreasonable demands. They would constantly belittle his achievements as a twisted form of motivation. Frustrated, he attempts to turn to a life of crime. After meeting a woman named Dorothy, he finds himself drawn into a world much bigger than himself. He changes his name and leaves his old life behind. Now he once again finds himself in New York on a mission to retrieve individuals simply referred to as lost ones. A mission that will bring him face to face with his past as things become more complicated by the second. Christopher Mercado. Chris is an amateur MMA fighter who has had many failures in his life. With his mother being killed in a car accident and his father in prison for murder, Chris was raised by his uncle Jose, a man who is also one of his coaches. After having suffered multiple setbacks in his career, finally, his first big break happens in the form of an upset victory. After experiencing the highest of highs, he is soon met with tragedy. Now he finds himself on a quest for revenge, leading him to a death match with what truly is an apex predator. And finally, Mikhail, a mystery man that has experience seemingly beyond his years, who carries himself with a playful sense of confidence. Who is he? What does he want? Is he ally or enemy? The book plays out over the course of 4 stories. Can you elaborate on that a bit more? Yes, rather than have this play out in multiple chapters over the course of a single story, each individual story moves the general story forward. Each story has different lead characters. There is a sense of escalation as the world gets bigger as each character drags us deeper into it. The events of each story bleed off into the others, and my lead characters are not isolated from each other. What is important to you as a writer? I feel that characters, story, world building, action, and most importantly pacing are what's important to me. Bad pacing can really hurt a story no matter how good it is. I don't feel the need to drag things needlessly, but I'm not trying to rush from moment to moment. You really have to nail that sweet spot, so you won't bore people, but still give them enough time to really process what they've read. I'm also writing in a format that's closer to a screenplay or a comic script format, so scenes, narration, and character dialogue stand out better. There's none of that repetitive he said, she said stuff. Also, I see my work as entertainment and pure escapism. There have been many stories with werewolves in them. What are you looking to do with these creatures that might be different than what we normally see? I really want to break down the process of what it is to live and evolve as a WOLVON. how you can go from being nothing more than a wild animal to a more controlled, competent fighter. What does it take to get to the point where you are fully in control and you're basically yourself but in a stronger body? Also, how would they hide their activities from general public? Who would be responsible for keeping everything a secret from the rest of the world? The difference between someone who is born a WOLVON and someone who is turned into one. How much can someone's mental state affect their transformation? Since the setting is in the modern era, there are things that can be broken down scientifically, and I like the idea of exploring that as the overall story progresses. While I respect classic tropes, I'm not exactly a slave to them. For example, WOLVON don't need a full moon to change and can do so at any time. However, moonlight makes them stronger and the transformation much easier to achieve at night. Also, I like the idea of exploring cultural differences that can spring up in a world where these monsters are real. Do you like novels and can name a few you've read? No, I'm not into novels at all, but luckily that isn't required to write one. I've read a few here and there when I was in school, but the only one I've ever liked was Hamlet. For me, I see it as a good thing that I'm not into novels that much. It allows me to come at this with different sensibilities. I have a lot of different interests that make up the DNA of who I am, like anime, comics, pro wrestling, sci-fi, tokusatsu, to horror movies like the original Evil Dead movies, to shows like Spartacus or HBO's Rome. Overall, I appreciate good storytelling and great pacing, which will shine through regardless of what medium my story is in. Your cover looks more akin to a comic book cover than what you would normally see from a novel cover. What influenced your decision to go that route? I grew up on comic books, so it tends to influence my sense of style. I really wanted my book to look cool and stand out. So my mind naturally went to comic book style with a bit of that epic scope that movie poster illustrations have. A big thank you to Neon Lab at artistsandclients.com. They really did a fantastic job bringing my vision to life. Who would you say is the target audience for this book? I guess people who are into stuff like American Werewolf in London, Underworld, like big fight scenes, and character-driven storytelling. It's definitely got a dark tone, so if you're into that sort of thing, you'll feel right at home. Also, if you're not really into novels, I think the format I write in can be very appealing. It feels like you're reading a show or a movie more so than reading a novel, if that makes any sense. Likewise, if you're big into novels, I think you'll still enjoy yourself. It won't feel like you're reading something that's trying to emulate whatever's trendy or expected in the novel world. Is this the first of a series of books? That's the plan. I only see this going to 2 or 3 books. Don't worry, while the ending for the first book may be a little open-ended, it still has a conclusion to the immediate story. I wasn't interested in making a cliffhanger ending. Where can we find your book? It's available exclusively on Amazon. You can get it as an ebook, in paperback form, or read it on Kindle Unlimited. Where can we find you? I'm mostly on YouTube and post stuff there occasionally on my channel Exile2K. Is there anything you'd like to say to your potential readers? If you decide to take a chance on me and check out my book, thank you. Even if you didn't and you're only checking out this self-interview, thank you. All I've ever wanted to do in life is tell stories. If even just one person buys my book and enjoys it, then it's all worth it.